Well, Rochelle, it was a very interesting, very volatile day on Wall Street. The jobs report, well, it was pretty ugly, missing forecasts by about 50,000, and that caused some panic about the fundamentals of the economy. There was concern that maybe the global growth slowdown is impacting the U.S., and we saw a big sell-off. The markets then changed course as the day progressed, and there was a stunning reversal that recovered from an initial decline of more than 1.5%. and closed up firmly in the green. The final numbers, the Dow was up 1.2%, the S&P 500 gaining 1.4%, and the Nasdaq climbed 1.7%. And today's move was, in fact, the biggest intraday reversal in 4 years. So why did we see all this whipsaw action? Karina is joining me on the set to talk about it. So, Karina, it was very interesting because a while ago we had the situation where bad news was good news in the sense that it indicated that the Fed would probably not take action. Then we seem to have this trend where bad news is actually bad news because it could point to the fact that all is not well in the U.S. economy and that global growth concerns could be spilling over into the U.S., and that's preventing action. But it seems that today we're back to the focus on the Fed, where bad news is good news.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw that would happen. Initially, when the markets opened, the reaction was negative, and that was because, the U.S. economy is not doing as well as we thought. Towards the end of the day, they reconsidered and realized, well, this means that interest rates are less likely to rise in 2015, more likely to be a story for 2016. And, of course, the Fed pays close attention to the jobs report because, unlike central banks around the world, it has a dual mandate. So not only does it have to look for price stability, and it's looking for inflation at a range of about 2% per year, but also has to pay attention to maximizing jobs in the U.S. So that's why that report was so important.
And it's good because it's, in a way, allowing the Fed to back out of a corner. It's giving them a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit more flexibility, because a lot of people were saying, it's time for liftoff already, let's go.
Right.
And one thing that investors hate, Karina, is uncertainty. This jobs report now makes the probability of a rate hike in 2015 very, very slim. The market is pricing it at about 2%. 51% of the market's money is on a March 2016 rate hike. Another interesting factor here is the dollar weakened today, and that was good for the markets as well.
Yeah, so the dollar fell by about 0.3% against a basket of foreign currencies. And the reason that happens, of course, is if interest rates rise in the U.S., the dollar will also rise. And so basically, more people will be bringing their money to the U.S. Where they can get a better return on their money. So that's why the dollar tends to go up as interest rates go up. So this is actually very good, of course, for U.S. exporters right now.
And it bodes well for future earnings because, if rates go up, the dollar goes through the roof, and that makes multinationals have a harder time when profits are translated back into dollars and, of course, with the exports. But still, if you look at the fundamentals of it, job participation in the workforce at a 38-year low, not so good. But a lot of working women, such as yourself, working mothers, participate in the job market.
Yes, that's right. Well, particularly in the United States, the majority of mothers do work here. 57% of mothers with infants are in the labor force, and that percentage rises as the children get older. For some, going back to work is a choice, but for others, it's a necessity. Maternity leave in the U.S. is often unpaid, and of course, childcare costs are very high here. But whatever the reason, one thing that most working mothers can relate to is this feeling of guilt.
Mornings can be frantic for working mom Jennifer Kuzi. Her 3 kids need breakfast, and she needs to get ready for work. It's a routine she's used to. After her oldest daughter was born, she went back to work a week later. When she had twins, she took 3 months off, unpaid. Her decision to go back to work as a family lawyer was partly born out of necessity, but it's a choice that makes her feel guilty.
You can't help but look at other people and what they're doing. And I see moms who are with their kids all the time, and my kids don't have that. So part of me feels guilty about that, that I can't be the one to, kiss their boo-boo when they fall during the day, or if something goes wrong, I'm not the one to give them a hug. It's constantly something I'm managing and struggling with, and I don't know that I have answers, just kind of take it day by day.
For many working mothers, it's a daily struggle between financial necessity and maternal instinct. Nikita Singhal, a mother who works in finance, says her priorities changed instantly after having her son.
It was incredibly hard after maternity leave to, leave my son and again go back to work, and It's such a strong bond and attachment that completely takes you by surprise, and so I'd be remiss to say that there's not guilt. I think you feel that every day.
Like a majority of working mothers in the U.S., Nikita and Jennifer would prefer to work part-time. But for many, that's not an option. Nikita's solution to finding work-family balance has been to start her own healthy snacks business so she can set her own schedule.
I still want to go out there and conquer the world, but I want to be at home and be able to cook and feed my son nutritious food, be there the first time he walks, the first time he talks. And so it's, for me, realizing that a 9-to-6 job really isn't going to do it anymore.
Nikita touches on a feeling Jennifer and many other working mothers can relate to. They like to work, and despite the guilt, they don't want to give up their careers after starting a family.
I went to school for a long time to be a lawyer, and I'm using my, my degree and my knowledge to provide for my family. It's also good for me, I think, balance-wise. I don't know that I would be the best full-time stay-at-home mom. I just don't have the creativity that I see other moms have.